Okay. So if you watch this recording on YouTube, I'm sorry it doesn't have the usual startup, but I just thought it's valuable what I'm working on here, and I think it'd be a good idea to have it also on YouTube. All right, so here's our cloud file. All right, so we're gonna save that, and then we have our PnP.js config. Obviously, this is gonna have errors because it's you know, it doesn't have the installation, doesn't have Webpart context. This is just gonna be something that we're gonna have AI every time we build a new web part, bring this into the web part that you're working on and help you establish PnP, the installation, and stuff. If you ever want to create SharePoint Framework web parts, you can do that this way. All right, so that's a CloudMD, and we're going to add additional things to this CloudMD file. And what I want to add to the file I don't think it's in this one. Let's go to our FAQ web part. This one. So general, we're gonna put our styles. So here, I wanna make sure that our styles are identified. And you can kind of see what it's gonna look like. So you're giving Claude general instructions in the plan and then the style. Okay, and what else do we need from Claude? Architecture. I'm gonna leave this for the plan. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this for the plan. And yeah, let's do it that way. Because initially what I want you to do is I want you to have the ability to add web parts here and then take the generic information from the common folder and be able to establish it on your web part. I wanted to make it as easy as possible for you to say, you know what, I feel pretty comfortable with this. And then, you know, AI can help me build whatever web part I want to work on. And then we're gonna have our technology stack. So our technology stack would be down here. What I mean by technology stack is basically what libraries, if any, you're going to be leveraging. Obviously, you're going to use SharePoint Framework, React and TypeScript, PnP.js for SharePoint integration, SWR for fetching and caching, Yup for validation, and Zustand for local state caching. That's what you're always going to use whenever you're building web parts. All right, so we have our CloudMD, the PnP config.js, and now the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna create a plan for Claude to do the work for us, and this is just gonna be repetitive. So here, we're gonna create a new folder called plans, or what would be a good name for it? Yeah, let's just call it plans. And so in our plans folder, we're going to create a file called new SPFx web part. Okay. And in this markdown file, what we're going to do is we're going to give AI a set of instructions that we want to do every single time that we want to start a new web part. Also, we need to, in addition to the technology stack, we need to have the general architecture of every single web part. This is the way I recommend that you build web parts if you do so. So the architecture is going to be, you're going to have your API layer. Then after the API layer, you'll have your SWR cache layer. And then you'll have your local / global state. And then finally, you'll have the user interface. Okay, so this is the way that you should build your web parts, and this is the way that I recommend that you always handle building of web parts. Okay, and we're going to create a plan that you should be able to tell AI, hey, I created this new folder. I need you to run this plan and basically move all the files for us, because especially if you're using something like Claude can pick up similar to how Vim is very advanced, that you can actually run everything through what is like a terminal, or it's called PuTTY or Vim, and it basically allows you to run commands that pretty much have any access that you would want to give it, for as far as moving files around, renaming files, deleting files, you name it. Okay, so that's the level of granularity that I want to go with. So now here we're going to create a new folder, and we're going to call this boilerplate SPFx. And here is where we're going to run our first installation of our very first web part. And you're going to see how these plans are used to create the boilerplate version, and then you can turn around and say, you know what, now I can work on this because I have kind of a head start. And that's what I want to be able to give you today. All right, so now that we have this, we're going to open our terminal. And we're going to look for SPFx. And then we're going to look for boilerplate. Okay. And you should always do this. So hopefully you don't have to refer to this video all the time. With practice, you'll continue to do this. But we're going to run a new SPFx project. Okay, so build your first. You should always do this, just by second nature. Always do this part. All right, and then this is just going to be our boilerplate SharePoint framework, where I'm teaching you, and we're going to develop a plan that you can just follow over and over again and create applications doing this. We gotta wait for Microsoft to do its thing, the Yeoman generator.
You opened your mouth, then close it again, like the dog needed more distance. Nothing wrong with what you meant, just not the right.
While that's running, let's go look at our Visual Studio Code.
Full of things we don't have to solve. I can tell by the way you pause.
Not that one. I think we can close this contact selector. We don't really need this.
I've learned how timing carries weight, even truth needs a place.
We're only going to keep the FAQ web part. Okay, so here's our boilerplate SharePoint framework web part. It is going to be a web part, and we're going to call it boilerplate.
I used to push through moments like this, force clarity.
Because I'm just giving you an example, and always pick React. You don't have to, it's up to you, but I usually like React when it comes to development.
Nothing's fragile in the quiet, nothing's slipping through the cracks. We're not pretending it's nothing, we're just putting it back on the shelf where it won't fall, where it won't rush us tonight. Some conversations age better when you give them time. Not hiding, not gone. just later. I trust this doesn't disappear just because we don't tempt it. If it's real, or hold it, shake it till we come back to it. No need to sharpen every edge while the night's still kind. I'd rather keep this moment intact than force a line. We'll talk about it later, not tonight. Doesn't mean it doesn't matter, just means the time's not right. We'll talk about it later, let it wait. Some things don't lose meaning when they're said. You nodded like you understood, because you did. No argument in the air, no unfinished business, just mutual sense of what today can hold.
Okay,
and what
so
deserves a quieter room.
the first thing that's going to happen is once you have your boilerplate application running,
I'm not closing the door, I'm just not walking through. We stayed where we were, let the night keep its
we're going to create the new plan. So let's get
today,
AI
not
involved in
tonight,
here.
and that felt right. We'll talk
Building
about it later.
new plan to create a new web part. I need a set of instructions to give AI repetitively whenever I ask for it to start a new web part.
Moving on.
First, it is going to
The one that
add
need a
the
follow-up. No loose ends pulling back.
PMP.js
Clocked
config.
it, waited fast. Put it where it stacks. Not cold, not careless. Just clear on the
And
call.
let's give it the plan that we're working with.
Some things don't need discussion. They just don't
Close this
start.
preview. All right.
I sat through moments,
We're just
strike
going to
out
add the
too long with
PMP.js
hands to shoulder dirty, but we kept
config.ts
going on.
to
This
the
wasn't
web
there.
part.
We felt it align.
folder.
Quick read, quick nod, same conclusion, same
It
time.
only
No
needs to
delay,
be given the
no
path
delay. You can
to
tell when a
the
rumor agrees before anyone says a word.
web part folder.
The shift happens quietly,
To do
but
this.
it's already confirmed. No one defending
So,
a position.
Let's go see if it's done
No one
installing. It is done
sharpening a
installing.
point.
Okay, so now we have our boilerplate
Just
application
mutual
here.
recognition that we're past it. Okay.
So now the
Moving on.
objective
We
is
know
instead of
enough,
you
no
having
need
to
to
open
sit.
this
No need to bluff. Okay.
and
Moving on.
taking this,
Decisions
as a
made.
matter of fact, let's rename
keep
this.
the pace before it
Because I always want
fades.
this to be at the top.
Moving on. I used to think speed and shallow, like fast
That's
choices
a
lack
trick that you
care.
can
Now I know
take.
hesitation isn't
Anytime that you
always
want
a
something
way.
to appear at the
Sometimes
very
clarity
top
shows
of things,
up
always put like an
before
underscore.
I can speak.
That's the way I find that I can
And the
just move things
smartest
around.
move is not to overthink.
For example,
Luck and rush
I
that
want
matter.
to
Nothing
be
skip that
able
counts. We didn't miss a
to
detail.
have
We just know the
the
amount of time
PMP.js
it
config
deserved. And that time ran clean. No
from
second
the
guessing, no
underscore
scene.
comment folder.
Okay, moving on. I'm good
Move
with that.
to
No
the
weight left hanging, no looking
boilerplate folder in the
Page turns, tone stay
boilerplate
steady, focus already there.
SPFx
No cleanup
folder.
required. Nothing left unsaid. Quick judgment, shared ground. That's how it goes. Okay, okay.
And
Moving on.
write this to the plan. I include user will give the name of the folder
I catch a look across
at the top level,
like, yeah, you feel it too.
and you should be able to take that folder
Yeah, this was
and
some things hit different when there's more than one
in
breath, like the load
SRC
redistributes without anyone saying it. No one takes the lead, no one plays
Webpart's
support, it just spreads out evenly like it's supposed to. This feels like a group
boilerplate
experience, too heavy
at
for a
the
solo view. Not bad,
file there
just better
by
balance
making
when it's felt
by
by
copying
a
it,
few. This
copying
feels like a
it
group
into it.
experience. No need to power through. It lands softer, knowing it's not
Don't
only you.
do the action because it might try to do that. Only write it into the plan,
Felt bigger than
and we'll
they were.
test if
This
the
one
plan
wants
works.
witnesses, not commentary, just presence multiplied so it doesn't tilt. No hero, no guide, no Nobody's fixing anything, nobody needs to. We're just here long enough for it to normalize. I feel it
She wants me
lightly,
to create a
slightly, not
plan.
because
Yep,
it changed, but
exactly.
because it's spread out now across faces. There's a reason some things are meant to be shared, not for drama, just for care. When
This
the
top
weight's
level
real,
projects
but not
folder,
personal,
example folder,
it helps to feel it
both
collected.
project
Feels
folder
like a
and the
great
web part name.
experience. I wouldn't watch it alone.
What?
It makes more sense.
What
with it
inputs would you
echo.
provide me each time? Oh, just the top level.
We don't label it. We don't
Just the top
debrief.
level.
We just sit in it together.
Actually, it might be a good idea to give it,
Somehow, that's
well,
enough. This feels like a group experience.
wait a minute. I don't even think it's in the web part folder now that I
That's
think about it. Let's go back to
Where it works.
the FAQ web part. Oh, it is in the web part folder. Because if I close this, you won't see it. So this PMP.js config needs to be here.
Nobody said it out loud, but the volume in the
I'm trying to
room
think
dipped
of
down. Laughs
whether
came
we
late
want
and
this to be
wrong,
done this way
like
every
they
time
knew
or
they
not.
didn't belong. Yeah. Phones face down, eyes up.
Only because if you ever
reading
want to
the
create a
same
separate
stuff.
web part, I
No
mean, I'm hoping
headline,
that
no announcement.
every web part you
Just a
create will
shift
be
in
its
the
own
air, we're
folder, but then
standing
again,
in.
you
Yeah.
may want to do something like,
Glasses
hey, I
half
want to
full,
create a web
jokes
part
half done. Someone sighs and pretends it's nothing. We keep
that's
talking about
part of
unrelated things where the plan's imaginary wins, but the rhythm lost its grip.
so the
You can
store
feel
you would
it in
probably
the
want it
way
under
we
web
sit.
parts.
Not tense, not
That way you
dramatic,
can,
just
because if you create another web part in here,
yeah. Going down.
then you wouldn't be you would have to move the PMP.js config to a more generic place.
When the vibe don't listen
I'm thinking that it'd be
anymore.
better
You don't
if
push,
the
you don't
PMP.js
fight.
config
You
is
just let
always
it slide its way. Yeah, it's going
is in the
down.
web part folder.
No one's saying it now, but the faces already know. Yeah, yeah.
What I mean by
it's
that is,
going
let me go back
down.
to
Still smiling
this one.
somehow, like we'll let it go on its own.
Okay, so what I mean by
Music
that
still
is I
playing
can
like
take
it
this
missed the cue.
PMP.js
Same
config
song,
and move
different
it into
truth.
this web parts
Nobody's
folder.
wrong, nobody's right. It just stopped holding.
And you'll
us
see
tight.
that it's
Yeah.
inside of the
Someone
web
checks
parts
the
folder.
time again, pretends it's casual.
And then if you add another web part
you can
here,
feel the exit forming,
you still have
even
it's
if
still here. Like, so
nobody's
you would just kind of
moving.
push up
No
one.
crash, no crash, no
I'm really
scene,
thinking
no
that that's
scene,
probably going to
just
be
gravity
the
doing its
best way to do
thing.
this.
I don't need a
This
reason
is
why
the
these
top.
moments rise,
That's the
these moments
top
die. Not every drop means something broke, some things
level
just run
project
out of smoke.
folder.
I've learned not to dramatize what's
And
clearly
I've
saying goodbye.
changed my
You
mind.
don't hold it, you don't fight. You just raid the
Let's
room
only
right.
tell it to put the file
Maybe it's not falling apart. Maybe
in
it's just
the
losing its
web
spark.
parts folder.
No blame hanging in the space. Just a natural change of day. Yeah, it's
So
going down.
in the
Still
event
calm, still polite, don't call it the
multiple
end.
web parts
But nobody's
are
staying
added,
tonight.
the
Chairs move
config
back
file
a little slow. Conversations get shallow. Nobody says we should
be
leave.
shared.
Yeah, but everybody agrees.
All right, so web part
wasn't
name
bad, wasn't
detection.
wrong,
Should
just
the AI automatically
lasted
find the web part
as
folder
long
name?
as it could. Some nights don't
I
need
think
a
that
reason
question 2
to stop being good. Yeah.
it's not relevant
We'll
anymore.
walk out in different times, same expressions, different minds. No hard feelings, no letdown. Yeah, just a quiet understanding now. Yeah, it's going down.
And then question
that's
3,
okay. We didn't lose
another source
anything.
PMP
It
with
just
capital
ended that way. Yeah.
the capital JS should it remain the same case when copy? Yes, it should keep the name.
Yeah, you almost smiled, caught yourself like it showed up too early. The moment's got a shape to it, but not the kind of energy. I can feel a human waiting on the other side of time, just not built for right now. not in this state of
All right, so when the user requests to set up a new shipper framework Webpart project, follow these steps. User will require top-level project folder. Copy the PNP.js config to destination project folder source Webpart. Keep the file name. File is placed correct, and then the user provides. So this is going to be the new SharePoint framework Webpart. I've laughed too soon before. Watched it fall flat. Copy over. So if this is correct, I should be able to tell AI that I wanted to go ahead and start doing this now. I'm gonna plug in my phone, sorry folks, give me a moment.
Present tense. I'm not pushing it away, I'm just setting it aside. Like a note you don't read till the moment's right. There's comfort in knowing this won't stay heavy forever. It's just not meant for laughter yet. We'll laugh about this later. I know we will. Just let it pass. Let it chill. No snarl force, no joke missed. Just patience doing its thing.
All right, so now I should be able to tell AI, let's do this. I'm going to start a new chat. And instead of boilerplate, I'm going to change this to say name of project. Because I don't want it to be too obvious. Obviously, I don't want it to be like, oh, well, it's boilerplate. Okay, so implement this plan. The name of the folder is, and then we're just gonna give it the name. I should be able to just give it this name and it should do its thing. Let's see if it does it.
Yeah. It didn't catch us leaning, didn't pull the floor away. We've been tracing this direction since way before.
Sweet, it did it. You see that? The file is here, which is what I wanted it to do. So if you can see boilerplate, and it now has the PNP file there. And actually, another thing that it needs to do
no one scrambling for context,
is to the main TS file under boilerplate.
So when it actually showed up, it felt accurate.
And really, there's only one file that's under boilerplate.
This part.
So here, let me go back to the original chat.
People expect impact for things to matter, but some outcomes walk and call me like we've had a past forever. It's not disappointment, it's not relief, it's just recognition.
Okay, so the next step after the file is moved, I need it to implement the usage of this file.
Didn't need to call it sudden, cause we knew how it would feel.
The only thing I don't know is if it's advisable to tell it to do this, given the fact that you know, obviously, I mean, these things don't, I mean, they haven't changed in ages, if I'm being honest. So, I mean, my worry right now is that maybe in 2 years or 3 years, it might not be the same setup anymore, or the file structure may not be the same. And since it's not the same, then we run into the issue where we tell it to do something and it doesn't apply. But let's just skip for the time being, you know, and I'll put a note like a community message, or I'll even create another stream to indicate, hey, this has changed and we shouldn't be using this anymore, and I'll update the boilerplate option, because after a while you'll probably learn how to do this anyway. You won't really need this help anymore.
It stayed within range.
So the next step after the file is moved, I needed to implement the usage of the file in the main TS file in the Webpart folder. For example, name of our Webpart is boilerplate. So the file, or really the only file, in the folder, I think you're gonna have to give it the name. Doesn't ask for commentary, no recap, no disbelief. We're not numb, we're not cold, just aligned with how things go. Some outcomes don't arrive, they've been waiting all along. No gas, no pause. I remember when this would've hit like something shifted the ground. Now it just confirms what's been circling around. Not everything predictable feels empty. Right here in the plan, the user will provide the name of the project. Stayed inside the margins where we thought it in. No one is surprised. No second and we will also provide the expected range. Don't feel cheated by it, don't feel let down. Reality didn't overreach, it just stayed bound. There's a piece of knowing not to dramatize. Some things don't shock you because you already arrived. Yes, file. Maybe surprise isn't the goal. Maybe accuracy is. User provides the name of the main TS file. The next step after the file is moved, I needed to implement the usage of this file in the name of the main TS file. No one is surprised, and that's fine. We saw in the Webpart folder. For example, the name of the Webpart, we don't need to have this because it's not going to try to figure that part out. If user does not provide it, inform them it is needed to establish a context for PNP on the Webpart. Also include that PMP.js should be installed as part of this plan. So it should check it didn't start with a signal. Package JSON to see if it is included. If not, it should install it. Someone shifted in they see. Another looked away. Add this to the plan. Left at the same exact place. There. And I didn't notice the weight till it left my chest. They didn't know we were holding it till we did less. Not relief, also, not collapse, just releasing sin. Like the air finally realized it was free. Funny how timing works when nobody plans it out. No cue, no eye contact. Still everybody found it. I caught your breath, match mine, half a second late, but close enough to feel. Let's just get this part done. We'll work on the next part next. We all exhale together. Didn't mean to, didn't try. Same second, same surrender, like the room decided why. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I get motion sickness when I'm in this room. Just a quiet understanding that the moment expired. I've been in spaces where touching breaks loud. This wasn't that, no laughter. It's really cool that we can do this. No dramatic snap, just shoulders dropped in slightly, eyes resetting slow. Like everyone agreed it was okay to let go. No release for main TS file detection should be AI. Automatically find the main Webpart file. Looks like Webpart.ts pattern. Maybe we just reached the point where holding stop making sense. Now that everything resolves with noise or explanation. Some gets clear out quietly through synchronization. And yes, in the init method initialized PNP correct. Right on time. Let it be stored in a class property, example private. After that, the room felt bigger, like space got added back. Nobody mentioned what it was, we didn't have to ask. Conversation picked up gently, different tones, same place, but something had already shifted without leaving a trace. And also add the reset SP to the on dispose to reset the web object in the dispose method. Where should I get the
Drop.
package dependencies? The CPMP just imports from both the PMP.
Yeah.
It's a
Room got quiet, but not dead. Just thinner than it was a sec ago. Someone reached for the speaker.
It should
like
be
muscle memory
from.
took over. Nobody panicked,
Let's check it
nobody
out.
froze. Just felt the dip coming on. You don't wait for it to hit. You soften it early. I've seen this moment switch fast from right to something
Okay.
else. One wrong
So,
silence,
getting
one
started.
extra thought, and it tips itself. So we let the music slide in. Not loud, not brave, just enough to bend the mood.
Before
it came,
installation,
it
it
dropped.
should be
Right on cue,
PSP.
before it got too serious, we knew what to do. Yep, it dropped, but not too far. Hit play just in time, kept it where we are. Play it. Yeah, that one. Funny how a beat can reset without fixing anything. No one says, are we okay? We
I don't
just
want
let
graph.
it swing. Head
If you
start
want
moving
graph,
half an
I'm
inch.
not gonna
Breath
help you on that
evens
yet.
out, not a
Maybe we
rescue,
can create
not a
additional
save,
plans for
just
this
a
boilerplate in the
reroute.
future, but as of right now,
No check.
my main interest is to,
I've learned you don't always
make
talk
this
right
part
before
work.
things go heavy. Sometimes you press play and let the S steady. It's not avoidance, not delay. It's knowing the edge and choosing not to stand right on it. The song doesn't change the facts, doesn't clean it up, just keeps the moment from hardening up. There's a skill in that time and knowing when to drop
I'm gonna
sound
delete
right
this
before
file
the
because I want to
silence starts
see
pulling us down. Yep.
the plan progressively
Caught it
grow.
early, didn't let it safe, didn't
Alright,
make
so-
it urgent.
So check the installation,
Nothing
copy
solved.
configuration file,
But nothing cracked. We stay right where we are.
implement PMP in the
That's enough
main
for now.
Webpart
Yep,
file.
it dropped. And we handled it.
Auto detect the Webpart folder by looking in the source Webparts for subfolder. Ask the user to specify.
I see the detail
That way,
forming,
you know,
right where we
if you
could
have more than
pause,
one,
edges starting to
the
show.
plan is ready to
Asking
ask
for a
you.
cause, but I'm not ready for clarity. That clock stack clean.
At the import
Some things feel
statement,
heavier when you oversee. Wide frame feels safe.
modify the on init.
I know it's there, I just don't wanna know. Not denial, not retreat.
So the
just
on
pacing
init
the
needs to
reveal.
be
There's a difference
changed to an
between seeing and being ready to
asynchronous
feel.
function.
Yeah, to stay out here.
Modify the
Learn how fast the
on init.
moment breaks
Here
once you
this
isolate the
context.
frame, pull it apart, name the parts, ask it to explain. Sometimes distance is respect, not avoidance, not fear. I'm still here with it. Just not
Add
that
to the
near.
plan
No close up.
to change
No
the
cut.
on
You can tell when
init
someone's bracing
to be
before
an
they even
async
say
function.
it. The way the shoulders settle, the way the eyes
And get rid
hesitate. I'm
of
not pretending
the
it's nothing.
then
I'm just letting
in
it
the,
breathe. Some truths don't need focus to be seen. Let's not zoom in, keep it
Get
wide. I'm not ready for the weight
environmental
on the inside. Let's not zoom in, get it
message.
time.
That's
I
it.
know it's there, I just need space right now. There will be a moment when I lean closer, when the blur feels safe and the edges feel softer. But tonight I'm choosing not to look too hard. That's not weakness, that's regard. Let's not zoom in, I'm still here. Just give me the
Perfect.
distance to stay clear.
And then modify the
To keep
dispose
the
method
frame where it is, no
to reset it,
magnifying
correct?
glass. Nothing lost by waiting, nothing needs
The
to
user
pass.
provides-
I'm not saying never, I'm just saying that now. Let's
I guess
not
this is
zoom
fine.
in.
We're gonna test this. Obviously, we're gonna create multiple options. But yeah, all right. So no, this plan is designed for repetitive use. User can simply provide the project folder name and AI should execute these steps automatically. Correct. All right, so after that it does that,
Nobody reaching for the why. Nobody lining up replies. It's not tension, not fatigue.
so what I want you to understand about the way that I like to program is I like to establish patterns. And that's the way I think that if you're going to develop stuff, you should establish patterns, just like we have here.
Yeah.
And so that's what this is going to do. It's going to help you establish a pattern. Okay, so now we have our initialization for any web part that you start. Doesn't rush to be declared, just sits there understated, like it doesn't need repair. No hands up, no doubt. That's it. I remember when we circled. Let me look at this whole file again. Asked the same thing different ways, just like we were slave. Now it's cleaner, more direct. So you need automatically sites, webs, and lists. You might not need fields. No one's asking questions. No one's asking. Be right back. Give me a moment. Not because they don't care, but because the answer's sitting right there. Yeah. I don't feel the need to check. Don't need it second guessed. Once you know, you know. And the body does the rest. There's a calm and mutual sight when nobody needs to fight for an explanation that already feels right. Maybe certainty isn't loud. Maybe it doesn't stand up. Maybe it just stays quiet. Sorry about that. All right. No one's asking questions. Okay, so no tension in the air. Already read the situation. Already there. So I'm gonna comment these out, but just make sure that whenever you use PNP, you want to automatically, obviously, you're going to use context to establish the connection to the website. So you're off the bat going to need these first three, but as far as field, and you'll probably need items as well. So so the reason they did this way is because this is a way that PNP can know, only import the parts that are needed for you to work with this product. And if there's going to be additional things that you're going to use, then we want to make sure that you make sure that you uncomment them. And you'll see that in the documentation, which I always recommend that you always follow the documentation. All right, so now this should be implemented. So now if I go to a new chat, let's add a new chat. Okay, and I'm going to close this one. I'm going to say, okay, so I'm in a new chat already. Implement this plan in my new Webpart. Folder name is, and then we're going to tell it the name. And we're going to try this with different ones because I want it to be kind of foolproof. Okay, so the name is boilerplate SPFx. Yes, always do this. Ask any clarifying questions. And so we should see that it copies over the files that we need. And then also we should see that it will implement those changes into our new web part. No safety net, no need for it. No bell clicking in my chest, no hands gripping for rest. It's asking for the web part file name. I don't need it slowed down, don't need a softer start. I'd rather feel it clean than pretend it's not. Maybe falling's not the word. Maybe it's release when you stop negotiating with altitude and speed. This is the downward part, clear and unpadded, no drama in the art, just direction finally added. Is the downward part. I'm asking if there's an input existing. I really probably shouldn't have called it that. I'm probably gonna delete this folder and just create a web part example. If you want to chat, put it on the chat. Any ideas that I could put on the name of the folder would be great. And then I want to this is automatically going to run my installation. So here's my PNP.js config file. And you can see that it imported it, good. And then it converted my function into an async function. And then it resets on dispose. Perfect. So now, whenever you want to start a new web part, you just tell it to follow that plan.
So that's the graph.
Let's delete this folder.
Explaining numbers like they matter this much. I nod early not to interrupt, but something clicked before you finished. The shape made sense before the math, before the
I think it's called main directory, right? And then we're gonna create a new folder, and we're gonna call it initial web part. Or let's just call it example.
So that's a graph, yeah, I see it now. Didn't need the whole explanation, it's clear enough. So that's a graph once you point it out, everything lines up without a doubt. I like how
And then we're gonna run the scaffolding tool to create our new web part. Let's just leave it an example, and then it's gonna be a web part example BP or boilerplate or example to follow. Example web. Let's leave it as example web part. I'm overthinking it. All right, so now another thing that I wanted to add to the plan. Let's go back to our original chat. Okay, so the next thing is to also make sure that from the underscore comment folder, the pod.md is added to the root. So if it is called funny how quick it switched from unclear to obvious, like the problem wasn't hard, just waiting for the angle. I didn't feel smart. Boilerplate SPFx.
Just relieved I finally saw what you meant.
It should add it there. So the folder the user identifies, it should move it there, or it should copy it there like it did for PNP config, except this one gets added to the root. What did it just do? Oh, come on now. It's gotta be. We are working on the plan. Add that line to the file placement logic, and it should do that. Not actually do it.
We don't have to solve. I can tell by the way you paused. You felt it too. Yeah. I've learned how timing carries weight. Even truth needs a place. Not everything that's real needs to land.
Perfect. So now it's gonna copy the CloudMD.
Just not now, no tension in the difference, just awareness.
Perfect.
Yeah. Later. I used to
And it
pursue
still
moments like
created
this,
this.
force
Why?
clarity on the spot, turn calm nights into work just to feel like we talk. Now I see how some things sound better with space not buried, not avoided, just postponed. Yeah.
Okay, so here's our example web part. I should be able to tell it, go ahead and you know, help me get started here. Okay, so now we're gonna tell it in a new chat, because we're gonna start constant new chats until we get this right. All right, so in this chat, we're gonna tell it implement this plan on folder example
time's not right. We'll
our
talk
part.
about it later. Let it wait. Some things don't lose meaning when they're said. You nodded like you understood because you did. No argument in the air, no unfinished business. Just mutual sense of what today can hold and what deserves a quieter room than this one.
And you're gonna see me using this on stream because I want you to kind of get comfortable with it. So whenever I'm streaming live and we want to start a new web part, we're gonna be running this.
Not today, not tonight, and that felt right.
So we look at the source folder. Here's our example web part. So if we refresh, so there's our PNP.js config. I just moved it. And then let's go look at our package JSON. And it added at PNPSP. And it tells you I installed PNPSP, copied the config file, copied the cloud file, and updated the example web part. Let's go look. Yep, it sure did. Look at that. It brought in our imports. It converted our function to an async function. And then it resets SP.
Not cold, not careless, just clear on the call. Some things don't need discussion, they just don't stall.
So this is every time that you come in and create a web part, you can just tell it implement this plan, and you're already off to the races. It's already pretty much set up as far as the PNP configuration is concerned.
You can tell when a room agrees before anyone says a word. The shift happens quietly, but it's already confirmed.
Now the next thing that we want to do is try to figure out how you want your web part to be laid out. Let's think about this. So common application layout. Let's see. So we have immediate images. So what I mean by a layout, obviously most of the web parts have like a navigation to the side, a content area, a header.
Luck and rush that matter, nothing skip that counts. We didn't miss a detail, we just know the amount of time it.
And so I want to be able to, because this is how I develop, right? So I want you to kind of get accustomed a little bit. If you want to follow this, it's a good idea to consider establishing how you want your web part to look. And you can actually tell it, okay, I want it to be laid out this way, and I want you in the process of creating that layout to show me potentially what it'll look like. And you can choose to do these plans. That's why I'm going to put them separately. So the next plan we're going to add here is we're going to add a new plan that's going to be called we're going to create a new file. Actually, let's number these. So rename like that, and then we're going to add a new plan. And this is going to be called layout.
Some things hit different when there's more than one breath, like the low redistributes without anyone saying it.
Setup.
No one takes the lead, no one plays support, it just spreads out evenly like it's supposed to. This feels like a group.
So here I wanted to establish a layout for the web part.
Not bad, just better balanced when it's felt by a few.
So I'm gonna put the instructions first.
No need to power through.
Let's do it this way. First, create layouts folder. Call it layouts or layouts. You can create multiple layouts if you want, but it's up to you. But I'm just giving you a generic. Again, this is all about boilerplate. This is all about how I would go about doing this if I was starting right now, right? So call the create a folder layout, and then ask the user for the layout option.
It helps to feel it.
Will it be full? Not B, as in like a B. Will it be full page layout? Meaning no header, no footer, or nav, or content area.
And that's exactly why it works.
No, maybe but I'm going based off of how I would do this, and now how I would want it to present me the options.
Nobody said it out loud, but the volume in the room dipped down.
So I should have the full page.
Late, landed wrong, like they knew they didn't belong. Phones face down, eyes up, everyone reading the same stuff. No headline, no announcement, just a shift.
Meaning it's just gonna be one solid page. There's not gonna be, and then if not, the other option would be left nav, header and footer. The other option would be,
but the rhythm lost its grip. You can feel
let me make sure I put here. Other option.
Not tense, not dramatic, just quietly
other option. I'm gonna have this cleaned up, don't worry. They were gonna have left nav, header, no footer. And then I think that's all I'm gonna give as options.
Yeah, it's going down. No one's saying it
Header.
but the faces already know. Yeah, it's going down. Still smiling somehow, like we'll let it go on its own. Music still playing like
in this same song, portion of the plan.
Nobody's wrong, nobody's
I
right.
want the
just stop holding us tight. Someone checks the time
again,
pretends it's casual, then you can feel the
main component in the components folder to be changed to a React functional component.
These moments rise, these moments die. Not every drop means something broke. Some things just run out of smoke. I've learned not to dramatize what's clearly
if the user has not, if there are multiple, if there is more than one,
maybe it's not falling apart. Maybe it's just losing its
ask the user for the name of the file to fix. Typically, when a new Webpart is created, it will have a main component in the components folder.
Nobody says we should leave, but everybody agrees. It wasn't bad, wasn't wrong, just lasted as long as it could. Some nights don't need a reason.
So, yeah.
We'll walk out in different times, same expressions, different minds.
Read the plain text in the file and generate it and create a structured set of instructions similar to how we did for this new SPFx Webpart.
Yeah, you almost smiled, caught yourself like it showed up too early. The moment's got a shape to it, but not the kind of energy. I can feel the humor waiting on the other side of time. Just not built for right now, not in this state of mind. I've learned how time and changes jokes, same line, different way. Say it
Looks
now,
like we're
lands
going
wrong,
over
say it later.
the continent of Africa.
Nothing's off, nothing's tense, just not ready for release.
Where should the layout folder be created? Under the components folder? Yes, it should be in the components folder. Correct. Should each of the 3 layout options be separate functional components? Yes, but the user should provide this. If they don't, ask for it and give an illustration in plain text. When converting to functional components, should I add React hooks, use state and user type? No. In SPFx, it expects to import all as React. So use React component.
No joke missed, just patience doing its thing. It all was like you were wailing. They'll come back lighter with better timing. We'll laugh about this later.
So for example, I wanted to let's just let it, if it asks me any questions. How should the user select the layout? As a property passed from the Webpart or an internal component dropdown? It should be something the user it should be something the user identifies prior to the plan working. Also make sure that each layout section has a way to identify the area by adding a random color as a background. Let the user know.
You can see it in the faces.
Know what it will look like.
No one scrambling for context, no need to testify. We said it's this keeps going, more times than we can count. So when it actually showed up, it felt accurate. Yeah. This part. Yeah. People expect impact for things that matter, but somehow
add to the plan that the
it's not belief, it's just recognition, meeting reality.
Default layout.tsx should be nested
This is the part we expect
inside the main Webpart component.
Didn't need to call it sudden, cause we knew
in
how it would feel.
Components folder.
This is the part we expected, nothing left to defend. It's not that it doesn't matter, it's just not the kind that bends. I don't feel cheated by the calm or bored by the lack of shock. Some things earn their ending by being logically locked. No disbelief to process, no edge to explain, just confirmation settling into what remains. Maybe the opposite of shock isn't numb or cold. Maybe it's just alignment with the story already told.
All right, so the next thing would be that we want to have you want to be able to run this part of the plan to establish the layout of your web part.
We saw the line forming, gone.
Okay.
We don't linger on the moment. We nod, we move ahead. Nothing cracked, nothing shifted, nothing needed to be said. This is the part we expected. It stayed within.
I want to kind of keep the same thing that it did over here.
No one is surprised. It stayed inside the range. Yeah. You see it land before it hits, like the ending already rehearsed. No sharp inhale, no raised brows, just a quiet yet the tracks. We've been reading the signs too long to act like this came out of nowhere. It didn't jump the fence, it walked straight through. Makes sense. I've seen shock before, this isn't that. No drop phones, no sudden stops, just heads tilting back. If it's the pattern we ignore, then slowly learn to trust. Not exciting, not tragic, just expected enough. Someone almost jokes about it, stops because there's no need. The room doesn't ask for commentary, no recap, no disbelief. We're not numb, we're not cold, just aligned with how things go. Some outcomes don't arrive, they've been waiting all along.
Okay.
No gas, no pause. I remember when this would've hit like something shifted the ground. Now it just
Let's give it a shot and see what happens.
around. Not everything predictable feels empty or dull. Sometimes it's just calm when the arc stays true. No one is surprised, no one pretends.
Also,
The margins where
with the embed,
no one is surprised. No second glance, this was always living in the expected range. I don't feel cheated by it.
I think that's how you spell it, hopefully. With the embedding of default layout, .tsx, make sure we remove the content of the main .tsx file in the components folder, and only leave the section. Leave the section image. Also clean up the SCSS to remove any files from classes that were removed.
That's exactly how it should be.
Because naturally what happens is you're gonna clean all this up, right? You're gonna all this should be cleaned up. We don't need this anymore. And when this gets cleaned up, there's several classes in here, like welcome image, add this note to the plan as well.
It didn't start with a signal, no countdown in the room, just the moment after waiting.
Wrap component render, layout component of default layout, cleanup component content, remove all existing content from the component, leave only the outermost section element. As a container, remove welcome images, cards, text blocks, links, etc. Keep only the section wrapper. Clean SCSS file. Perfect. Alright, so now, oh, it's literally doing what I'm telling it to do right now. I'm not.
No cue, no eye contact. Still, everybody found it. I caught your breath, match mine, half a second.
Let's undo this. I didn't ask you to do that.
Like we shared the same escape. We all exhaled together. Didn't mean to, didn't try. Same second, same
Alright.
surrender. Like the room decided.
Alright, so let's now in a new chat.
Just a quiet understanding at the moment.
Let's go ahead and get this Webpart going. I believe we have some npm scripts in here. So here in the npm scripts, let's run a serve. Is there a serve option here?
No release valve, no sound, just air leaving.
We have build, start, clean.
Stop making sense now that everything resolves with noise or explanation.
I wonder what, let's just give this a shot. What does it do?
We all exhaled together, right on time. Didn't look around, still knew it wasn't just mine. After that, the room felt big.
While that's going on, let's go to our streaming site and let's open our workbench.
Different tone, same place, but something had already shifted without leaving a trace. No signal, my thermometer. No one wrote it down, just a shared breath at the same time. And I wasn't known.
What do we got here?
We all exhaled together and moved on.
Oh, because it cleaned the. Oh boy.
Yeah. It dropped.
remember, AI is messing stuff up because it's doing stuff that I didn't ask it to do. I was just asking it to write the plan. I wasn't asking it to implement the plan yet.
Took over. Nobody panicked, nobody froze, just felt the dip coming on. You don't wait for it to hit, you soften it early. I've seen this moment switch fast from right to something else. One wrong silence, one extra thought, and it tips itself. So we let the music slide in.
All right.
Not loud, not brave, just enough to bend the mood.
Local should, yep, example Webpart. Okay, so this is the Webpart already. Now we're gonna tell it to implement that plan. Okay, and it should ask us, okay, what layout do you want? For this scenario, I'm just gonna use, let me minimize this terminal. So let's open AI with a new chat.
No one says, are we okay? We just let it swing.
So layout options.
Breath evens out, not a rescue, not a save, just a reroute.
And we can close this.
I've learned you don't always talk right before things go heavy. Sometimes you press play and let the S steady. It's not a voice.
What else did it? Did it do anything else on the other chat that we were working on? I just told it to change that, but it didn't create the component.
There's a skill in that time and knowing when to drop sound right before the silence starts pulling us down. Yep, it dropped. We caught it early.
Let's go back to the plan again. Ooh, did I open node modules by accident?
Music playing, nothing solved, but nothing cracked.
Let's read this real quick.
And that's enough for now. Yep, it dropped.
Okay. I wanted to also
And we have it.
components. It's not there. Okay.
Let's not zoom in. Not yet. I see the detail forming right where we could pause.
What else did I need to do?
Asking for a cause, but I'm not ready for clarity. That clock stack.
In the assets, also when it says the cleanup, let's
cleanup
component and content. Remove all existing content from the component and leave only the outermost section. Element as a container. Remove this. Remove any images referenced
to explain. Sometimes distance is respect, not avoidance, not fear. I'm still here with it. Just
in the
close up
component.
No cut. You can tell when someone's bracing before they even say it. The way the shoulders
any images,
the way the eyes hesitate. I'm not pretending it's messing. I'm just letting it breathe. Some
yeah, that should do.
To be seen.
All right, so now that we have that plan,
let's not zoom in. Keep it wide. I'm not ready for the weight on the inside.
Implement this plan on example
there will be a moment when
Webpart.
So when the blur feels safe
ask
and
any
softer,
clarifying.
I'm choosing not to look too hard. That's not weakness.
We have any.
That's regard.
All right.
Let's not zoom in. I'm still here. Just give me the distance to stay clear. We keep the frame where it is. No magnifying glass. Nothing lost by waiting. Nothing needs
I just want to make sure I've covered all my bases in here. I think it has, so let's give it a shot. Worst thing is we'll just undo it.
That's
all right, let's do this. For this one, I'm just going to say it's a full page layout.
Yeah. No one's asking questions.
So we should see these go away, because it should be getting rid of the assets in that folder.
Already took a seat. Nobody reaching for the why. Nobody lining up replies. It's not tension, not fatigue, just clarity. Nobody needs to lead. You can feel it in the way we nod, like we've already crossed that door. Yeah. We know. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen silence mean confusion.
Yeah, first of all, the images are still there.
No crossed arms, no restless looks, no pages left in the back. It's the kind of quiet that lands when the math already ran. No mystery left to chase, just acceptance in its place. Yeah, someone almost says something, stops halfway, lets it drop. Not because they're unsure, but because there's nothing left.
Okay, so this is good. But it didn't get rid of the images. Are the images even important? Is that probably why it didn't recognize that the images are there?
Like it doesn't need repair. No hands up, no doubt. That's it. I remember when we'd circle things, overthink the meaning shape. Ask the same thing different ways, just to feel like we were slaves. Now it's cleaner, more direct. Not loud, not
yeah, the images are in here.
Growth looks like this, fewer words,
maybe it was only looking for them in the imports.
No one's asking questions, not because they don't care.
I'm just gonna leave it like that. If you want to do that, you can do that on your own when you're using this tool. We're gonna keep all these changes.
When nobody needs to fight for an explanation that already feels right. Maybe certainty
and just keep everything. All right. So if we go to our web part, we should see content area, full page layout. I don't know why it would do that. Adding that border around it. Does it say borders anywhere on there?
Avoiding just do nothing left to clarify, nothing hanging in reply, no debate, no suggestion, and silence is it best. No one's asking questions because we already know the answer.
Remove the, let me just change this. Remove the full page.
This is the downward part.
Layout, and or not remove it, but change the full page.
This is the downward.
Yeah, remove the full page layout and add layout with
just to shift you
header and content only.
Conversation still
Let's do that.
but the weight just changed. It's mad. Nobody panicking here. We've been hovering long enough. Yeah, you don't need a warning voice when gravity's obvious. Drinks untouched, I steady. Everyone's already ready, not bracing, not afraid, just adjusting to.
If I mean, when you're using this tool, obviously you're probably gonna want to clean it up and tell it, you know what, I don't want you to add these borders around there. I bet you anything I just added is a layout.
How calm it feels once you stop resisting it. All the tension was just us pretending we could lift again. I'm not calling this a fall, more like finally agreeing to the direction everything was already leaning. No pull up, no climb, just motion doing time. I've seen people tense up here like descent means lost, but nothing's breaking in this room, nothing's coming off. Sometimes letting go of height is how you keep control. You don't fight the slope, you let it roll. This is the downward part.
I don't like what it did.
No safety net, no
we're gonna have to update this. I don't like when these things are done like this, because then that means you have to go out here and update this. It's kind of annoying. And then the other thing that it did wrong is layout component, get layout. Get layout. Okay, but where's layout coming from? Layout is coming from a prop in the main web part. This is not the way I usually do things, but because it's saying that this has a layout prop, and this layout prop is this props. That's supposed to be passed to the example web part. However, it doesn't make any sense because I don't see it defined. You can see here it only passes these. So where is that property coming from? Maybe am I missing something? Layout. They just show up. Yeah, you kept talking that in detail. I was already there, not rushing you. So I'm supposed to use this. It wasn't smart, it wasn't fast, just familiar somehow. Like I've seen that curve before, just never written it down. So that's a graph, yeah, I see it now. Didn't need the whole explanation, it's clear enough. So that's a graph once you point it out, where everything lines up without a doubt. I like how I understand it lands quiet, not announced, no fireworks. So what am I supposed to do this? And tell it to do the header content. So header content, is that what it's saying? Header area, content area. I mean, it gets my general idea, but I don't like the layout. I don't like the way that's written. Because then the benefit that you get here is that once you create all of your pieces, you can just place them on the whatever area you want. My only caveat with this is that I just don't like the way this code is written. I have like a certain way that I like to write my code, and I'm just not a big fan of this. And this is kind of misleading because layout, there is no, I guess it just did default layout because layout wasn't passed. Layout is an optional prop. So that's why whenever we saw the props for it, so if we go here to the props, you can see that it has a question mark making it optional. And so because there was no layout prop defined, then it was returning the default, which in our scenario the default is whatever is the default layout, and the default layout just happens to be the basic full page layout. Okay. And so the overall concept is basically saying, if whatever you want to put in, like say if you're using, for example, if you're using the layout component and you're using full page layout or the header content, let's look at what header content wants. Header content wants layout props, which would be the children. Nothing wrong with what you meant, just not the right minute. The room's already full of things. So the layout component, I can tell by the way you paused. Am I understanding here that I would put header content? No. How would it know? Full page layout, and then it renders later. I used to push through moments like this, force clarity on the spot, turn calm nights into work just to feel like we talk. Now I see how some things sound. This how would it know to put this in the header? Nothing's fragile in the quiet, nothing's slipping through the cracks. Oh, because it has it right here. So I guess it's expecting you to put the props in here. Yeah, this is gonna have to be fixed. But I mean, like I said, we're in a process. This is a process. We're gonna refine it. I'm gonna stop here for today, but you're getting the general idea. I want to build a reusable tool that you can use as a boilerplate to create any applications that you have in the future, any SharePoint framework web parts that you want to create. You should be able to use this template and leverage AI to help you build this web part. And then follow, because my interest is that you, if you want to do this kind of work, that you build solid web parts. So I got a chat, didn't even notice. I don't know if you're still there, chatter, but the question was, bro, what is this? We're building SharePoint framework web part. So essentially I leverage a platform called SharePoint. So I use SharePoint to be able to build like pieces, if you will, for that page. I'm thinking that that's what you're asking. What by that question? If you're asking about my environment, this is VR. I'm working in VR. So what you see on the bottom right hand corner is my virtual reality environment where I sometimes work. But yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna call it a day. If this helped you, please give it a like, comment, subscribe on my YouTube. I'm always, trying to help people in learning what I do, because this is what I love to do. And if this is helping you, if you like some of the content, please, I know to some people it might be boring, but to some like myself, this is a lot of fun. And I thank you for joining me. I'll catch you on the next one. Since I don't have the camera today, peace. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Moving on, we know enough, no need to sit with it, no need to bluff. Okay, moving on, decisions made, let's keep the pace before it fades. Okay, moving on. I used to think speed meant shallow, like fast choices lack care. Now I know hesitation isn't always aware. Sometimes clarity shows up before doubt can speak. And the smartest move is not to overthink. Luck and rush that matter, luck and skip that counts. We didn't miss a detail, we just know the amount of time it deserves.